Hello, hi, my name is Morgana, and welcome back or welcome to Medieval-ifying The Sims 4 Townies. This time around, we're back in Willow Creek with Pancakes, and this was such a breath of fresh air because my past few medieval makeovers have been people who were relatively well off, if not nobility. We had the Goths who were nobility, the Landgrabs are rich, and the Calientes are pretty well off as well. The Chopras were in a bit of a different situation, but they were relatively well off according to their storyline. But this time around, we actually have a peasant class. Of course, they aren't dirt poor. They still make a good bit of money, but it was still a nice twist to kind of tone things down for a bit, which is probably why they were also my quickest, because they were only two of them and they only have so many clothing options considering their social status. So, what are these two's medieval story? Well, Bob, who normally in The Sims 4 starts off as a chef, is actually a baker. Of course, bakeries and restaurants, the way we think of it today, don't really come around until, the 1700s, perhaps the 1600s or so. And in my mind, that's pre-medieval. Well, in my mind, historically, that is pre-medieval. So medieval times, bakers usually worked as part of a guild, and restaurants didn't necessarily exist. If you cooked and earned money from your cooking, you were either a cook for, perhaps a local noble or even the royal family to some extent. But most of the time, people just sold breads and stuff outside of their houses, or, a little place of soup or something like that during, on stands outside of their houses, right? Not necessarily a restaurant owner. So that's what Bob is. He bakes bread and things. He's not necessarily part of a guild, but he does bake bread according to the medieval regulations that apparently existed for bread. They took bread extremely seriously. He bakes bread and makes little tarts like cheese tarts and things for the people who have a few more coins on them. And he sells them to his local community, which is really just made up of peasants. He might have someone richer stop by and take a peek, but I don't think they have the gall, to touch the food of peasants. So they just kind of stare in awe and wonder at the lengths these people have to go through. But he is very popular amongst his neighborhood and his community, especially because, not every single person in his community has the ability or the time, between all the work they have to do, especially most of them are farmers, have the ability or the time to stop and actually bake their own bread, and bread is eaten pretty consistently. So that's usually what he sells. And of course, because he spends all his time baking, Eliza Pancakes doesn't work. She stays in the house. She's the homemaker. She takes care of the cow, making sure her husband has milk for the bread and eggs for the bread. And she takes care of their little garden for the herbs and everything when they have them. So she just helps him out, and her help helps him, which helps her because it brings them money and keeps a roof over their head. Not the best roof, but a roof. A better roof than what most roofs around them look like, So Eliza, like I said before, she's not working, and she has these ideas about what she wants her life to look like. She's materialistic and everything, so I imagine she does all of this to also push Bob into the direction she wants him to be, because the better off he is, the better off she's gonna be as his wife, right? So if he becomes a rather wealthy baker, she won't have to do as much work with the cows and the milk and the eggs and everything like that. He could potentially hire apprentices or other people to help him or things like that. Perhaps even an indentured servant of sorts, right? So she just has plans like that. Like, she doesn't mind the minimal work she does now, but she would like to do even less and live in a fancier home. Drink out of goblets, have some fresh mead and wine. But for now, they are going to stick to their bread soups and warm milks to make it through the winter. That's all they can do. Now, the two of them are trying for a baby. Bob desperately wants a child. Eliza's not really on board with that, but considering the time period, I don't really think she has too much of a choice, and I don't think she truly minds as much, but they are struggling. She's struggling to get and stay pregnant. She suffered through a few miscarriages, which is making things a bit more difficult. But of course, Bob and her have a pretty good relationship. He's just such a supportive partner. that, you know, he's not blaming her for it or anything like that. He's not being like misogynistic and weird. He's just like, okay, well, you know, if the gods bless us with it, it'll happen. If it doesn't, we won't. You know, we still have the bakery, we still have each other, everything like that. So they're they're a pretty good duo together, all things considered, even though, you know, Eliza dreams of more, and Bob is pretty content with the life they have together. So that's about it. Just two working class peasant families, just two. Not two families, but two people, you know, trying to form a family of their own, working and selling their breads to their neighbors and friends. So yeah, honestly, these guys were so fun to make. I also considered giving Eliza her natural brown hair instead of the red. I had that same thought process with the Calientes, but just like with the Caliente makeover that I did, I decided to just go ahead and stick with her iconic ginger. And yeah, that's it. These guys will be up on the gallery around the same time that this video goes up, so be on the lookout for that. My gallery information will be in the description below. And if you're interested in some of the other medieval makeovers I've done or potentially will do in the future, one, let me know what townies you would like to see next. And two, the playlist will be linked at the end of the title cards, well, the title cards at the end of this video, as well as in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Bye!